Alright, so part 2 of the epic saga of the D&D campaign that I'm in. Although I'm probably going to have to break up the previous one into different parts because it was over a half hour long and I can't upload longer than 15 minutes yet. But anyway, okay, so Prince blah blah blah, fade black, and I don't really remember exactly what happened after that, but so we went back to our Rosewood after that. And we did some more adventures. I think that's when we did the magic thing or whatever. And we decided to explore the rest of Under the Keep because we had done half of it and we never did the other half. And we got down another level. Oh, before that there was this guy that we found that was like an alchemist / necromancer with a flesh golem guy servant, and my character was fine with that, but Steve's character decided he hated it and wanted to attack him, but we managed to convince him not to. Anyway, so we went back down there and the alchemist guy was gone, and we went a little further and we found this like dragon guy who was the gatekeeper to a passage underground and blah blah blah, and like we were like, you know what, we'll just deal with this later because we have stuff to do. So once again we left the keep unfinished, which might probably be frustrating for William because he's like, I made this place for you to explore, you just to finish exploring it. But we were summoned back to Shannon-Su again, and this is like months later in game time. I don't think it was like a month or two later in actual real life time. So right, we got summoned back to get our official inclusion into nobility, because before that I guess it wasn't really official, but and Septarm came with us because he was our dad and he had to sign some thingies talking about it. But when we got there, we were brought into this procession in the courtyard and blah blah blah, and the king was there and everything like that. And the night before, Septarm had been really nervous, although he hit it well, but Steve always gets like 30 something on his rolls according to him, so he could tell that he was nervous. And don't stop writing an angry comment, Steve, I'm kidding, sort of. Anyway, and so Septarm, we got in front of the king and the princess and the rest of the royal family, and all of a sudden the king stands up and pulls out his sword, and Septarm pulls out his sword, and they go to battle, and oh my god, the king is, turns out he's possessed by a demon, and Septarm kills the demon, and everybody is thrown into a state of confusion, and the royal guard attacks us, but you know, they're just doing their job, and I'm like, okay, something weird's going on. So my character tries to do non-lethal damage, whereas Kate's character, who's apparently a bloodthirsty biatch, even though she's like a super happy family valley girl, takes out a card, and I don't know. So anyway, so Septarm kills the demon that took over the king, and after things settle down a little bit, you know, everyone's kind of shell-shocked, especially the princess and Lauren, because they had no idea that their father was demon-possessed. And we find out more about the fact that this kingdom has been at war with the demon nations to the north for a long time. By that point, my character has been seeing Lauren pretty often, and she senses that he's like really upset about it, so she tails him, and he's apparently like making plans to just like set out that night and just like go take on the demon hordes single-handed, because that's what men do apparently. And she manages to convince him. She's like, no, come on, we have an idea about these 5 sacred weapons that can do great harm against the demons, and we should try to find that and try to save your father's soul so he's not in eternal torment. You're just going to be throwing your life away if you just charge into whatever. So she manages to convince him to go with them. And so then a little while later, Lauren has arranged passage to get to where the hint of the first weapon, which is the Spear of Light, to the god Palor, who's this justice and whatever god. But it's over in Edward's Land. Marche, I think. is the city. I don't remember the kingdom name. Whatever. No, Marche is the kingdom. Something else is the city. But anyway, and he's apparently really happy all of a sudden. My character's like, okay. And she sneaks into his room and observes him pull out a chest and pull out this shiny cutlass that he's like, la 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 la, all happy about. And then she drops in on him, and he's like, oh, look, I get to use this again. She's like, okay. And then he's like, hey, help me dye my hair. So she's like, okay. So she helps him dye his hair silver because it was black before. And they go out to the docks, where, by the way, there was a guy that my character tried to do some stealing for, but that kind of turned out badly, so that's fine. That was that, you know, that was my character's failed career as a thief for hire, I guess. Anyway, so they get to the docks, and there's a ship waiting there, and our characters climb onto the ship, and all the guys on the ship are very unsavory looking and very disapproving, and this handsome guy comes out and looks at Laura and is like, and all of a sudden, they're like, hey, Jack, hey, Josh, and they give a big hug, and it turns out that they're totally BFFs, and that apparently Lauren was moonlighting as a famous pirate called Silverjack. I'm not making this up. This is what William decided, and that Joshua was his second in command, and his first mate, or whatever. And my character's kind of like, wow, okay, I guess. Good thing I'm lawful neutral, because you're a pirate. But so they get on the boat, and so they're gonna be kind of, they're gonna pirate their way over to Edward's land, where the spear is. And my character's kind of confused because she's like, I thought you were friends with Edward, and Lauren's like, I totally am, but Edward hates Silverjack and wants to kill him. Yeah, it's hilarious. Like, so you steal from him, but you call him your best friend. Okay. Well, not best friend, but good friend. Anyway, so they get on the ship, and suddenly everybody's a pirate, and they come across some galleys, and they attack the galleys, and they steal half their stuff. And they don't kill anybody. They leave the ships functional, just stranded, and they take it off to basically Tortuga, where they sell the gold, and so everybody gets a little bit of money. And then they continue their passage on a river. It's going to go inland to where Pelor's temple is. But in the meantime, they stop in a small village. Oh, before that, sorry. In the capital of Marche, the Edward's place, Lauren is like, so I can't really move around too much because I'm a wanted criminal, but let's make a pit stop. And my character's like, okay. So she follows him, and he goes to Edward's castle, where he's apparently going to break in and steal something, which he apparently does every time he's in the city. And it was pretty funny because for once my character, I didn't fail all my rolls, and Lauren did fail one of his, so he critically failed getting into the courtyard, and he face planted at the bottom of a little decorative waterfall. But apparently the guards in this courtyard are even more inept than, like, Skyrim bosses, or not Skyrim bosses, but people getting shot in the eye and going, oh, it must be imagination, because they still didn't catch him. And so we break in, and he steals a dagger, and I steal a signet ring of the Royal Marche house or whatever. And Edward breaks in, and it's very campy, but Silverjack's like, I'll see you next time, and Edward's like, come back here, you damn whatever. So we break out, and and we steal various baubles and stuff too. So we break out, and then we have to go through some sewers to get out of the courtyard, so we have to swim through all this, and we come out the other side, and the rest of the group is there. And I forgot, but at some point Chris also joined the group with his druid character, and that was a whole other thing that I'm not even going to get into because it's a long story and I don't remember all the details. Anyway, so we emerged from the sewers, and we apparently Silverjack is like, hey, so we got this stuff, we're going to give it to the poor people now. Want to help? And my sister's like, yeah, and my character's like, what? I thought that was going to be hours, but okay. So they go around the poor area and they give the money to the orphans and, you know, whatever. Right. So then the next day they leave the city and they head to a small town where they're going to get another boat going up a river. And my character, like I said, she puts her foot in her mouth quite often. This is partly me sucking at D&D and partly me trying to be kind of, you know, reckless in how I play my character because I think it's more fun that way. She decides that she doesn't feel properly doted upon by Lauren, so she goes to a farm boy and flirts with him and takes him off into the wilderness or whatever, farmland, and basically she doesn't do anything, but she tells him like, yeah, you can totally tell your friends we did it, I don't care. And she goes back and she feels kind of bad, but Lauren's like really pissed off about it because he thinks that she really did sleep with him. And so she feels bad about it, and he's just like not talking to her for like a really long time. And oh, by the way, Bells and Joshua obviously end up as a couple because earlier when we were hanging out with the princess has this artist guy that supposedly has magic powers and can draw who you're supposed to end up with. And she did one for the princess, or he did one for the princess, and the picture looks like Edward but not quite, but the princess just keeps telling herself that it's Edward, so it's probably like his uncle or his older brother or something like that. And then they did one for Bells, and it was a guy with a trident riding a dolphin, and so they're like, okay, that's interesting. And then they did one for my character, and my character was being petulant and didn't even look at it, but it was a picture of a demon, which they were all alarmed about, and my sister had this knowledge for a long time, but she didn't say anything to me because she didn't want to talk about it, which might make it come true. But then when she finally did tell my character while they were on the boat, my character tried to slip some holy water into Lauren's drink, and Lauren figured it out, and then she was like, sorry, I'm just trying to make sure you're not a demon. And he's like, holy water? Okay. And then she had like a silver dagger, and he's like, okay, cut. Nothing happened. So she's like, okay, I guess you're not a demon or a devil. That's good. That was kind of sweet. But anyway, so, and it turns out that Joshua, although I don't think anybody but Belle's character knows this right now, or Kate's character knows this, but Joshua is like basically the son of Triton, Poseidon, sea god, who left he willingly ran away from his father, but his father took away most of his powers, so he's an ex-god, blah blah blah, but he totally falls for Bells, and and there was a funny scene where he was going to meet Bells at night on the ship, and Lauren decided to start playing violin really dramatically, and so Josh went over and broke his violin, and then went back to Bells, and Lauren was really sad about it because apparently the violin was this enchanted thing that he got from mermaids or something like that, or a siren. He got it from a siren. So my character had to try to comfort Lauren for his broken violin that his friend broke. Anyway, alright, so Lauren's being really pouty. Jump ahead again. Lauren's being really pouty because my character basically let people think that she slept with this like random farmhand guy, and so my character is being really like stubborn and is like, I don't want to say sorry, but Bells is like, say sorry, say sorry, say sorry. So she's like, fine. Goes over to Lauren and she's like, I'm sorry that I pretended to sleep with this guy, but I wanted to make you jealous because I felt like you were ignoring me, blah blah blah. And in Bells, or in Rory's defense, we had all failed our, I don't remember if it was a fortitude save or what, but we were all suffering cabin fever because we've been stuck on this shit for months on end. So she wasn't quite in her right mind, but that's just an excuse. Anyway, so she's like, oh, I felt like you were, like you didn't really love me, blah 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 blah. And Lauren's like, how could you think that? I specifically arranged it so that you guys could become nobles so that I could marry you someday. And she's like, yeah. So they made up, whatever. And he was making a flute and he gave her the flute. But, right. So, everything's hunky-dory again, and they go to the Temple of Pelor, and this is what happened like 2 weeks ago. And shit happens. Bells triggers a lava trap that almost kills her, gets her down to like 6 health points out of like 50, and destroys most of her stuff. But we had extra, so we got her situated again. And we ended up at the far end of this temple, where there's a room with some succubi in it who really try to have sex with everybody, because that's what succubi do. There's another room with this demon sitting behind a desk, and there's all these people chained up, like dying on the walls. And apparently he's a wish-granting demon, and the last person to ask for a wish liked sadomasochism, and so that was his wish, apparently. And then there was another room where there's this chick made out of diamond, like with diamond skin, and the characters, not mine, but the other characters decided that it would be a good idea to fight her, or rather, they asked her, where can we find the spear, and she said, like, oh, not this way. And Joe's character, the cleric, the only one who's even close to Pelor, is like, liar! And she's apparently an extremely honor-bound creature, so she takes that as permission to attack us, which of course she's like destroying the shit out of us, because she's like a freaking go away, bug, super powerful witch sorceress made out of diamond. So we're like getting our ass kicked, and Joe died like twice in one day. Once it turned out to be an illusion, another time was to her. And so we run back, I bit my tongue. We run back to the room with the wish-granting demon, and Kate really quickly is like, oh, we wish that right before and without death, blah, blah, blah. So he wishes us back, but it's a demon wishing thing, so, you know, there's going to be loopholes, but whatever. So we managed to get back before attacking the woman, and I'm like, okay, let me handle it. So we leave the people that pissed her off there, and I trepidatiously go into the room, and I ask her about the spear, and she is like, she remembers, but she doesn't attack, and she's like, it's not this way, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay. So I go back to the demon, and then we spend a really long time figuring out what we're gonna do, and we can't go back because the triggered lava trap walks that way, and then we don't know where to go. And one of us makes a wish that we think about for quite a while, that reverses things. Oh, duh! I can't believe I forgot to mention this. So, when we first got into the temple, yeah, this is kind of a major plot point. When we first got to the temple, we go down, and my character's sneaking around, and we see this Knoll war chief, or priest chief, or whatever he was called, war priest, I think it was, and all these gnolls, and my character sneaks around to get behind him, and she sees these 2 gigantic spiders, and William's like, what do you do? And I'm like, I attack the war chief? Like, I don't know what else I'm supposed to do. We have to get through here. And so we attack him, and he calls the 2 spiders, who are like the size of a Roman Catholic cathedral, is my assumption, because they're gargantuan. And we're fighting them, and we're actually not doing too badly, except that I'm fighting one of them with Lauren, and the rest of the party's fighting the other one. And I tried to tumble around the spider to get behind, so I could sneak attack, or flank attack, whatever. And like I said, I failed pretty much all my rolls. So needless to say, I failed my tumble roll. And the spider critically succeeded in attacking me, and one-shot me. Like, dead. 100% dead. And so Lauren, I don't know if this existed before, or if William decided on it just to make me not have to make a new character, but uses his sword, which is apparently a magical item, to bring me back to life, although it's extremely painful, and I have a huge scar in my chest from where I was stabbed by the spider, and it takes away from Lauren when he uses it as well. And luckily, he managed to roll low on how much damage, so he lived. Otherwise, he could have easily gotten killed, and I would have been saved, and that would have been a whole other ball or can of worms. But anyway, unfortunately, apparently the cutlass had Joshua's godly powers in it, and it was a super difficult artifact that they had to get these mermaid people to make, and the fact that it released it means that now Josh's father can trace him and will try to kill him and everyone else around him. So as soon as that happened, Josh has to leave, which makes Bells really sad because Bells is in love with Josh and vice versa. But so anyway, so back at the demon, so Lauren is without a sword and without his friend who's on the run, maybe forever. And so we used another wish to make it so that I hadn't gotten stabbed, so that he hadn't used the cutlass. So Josh is back. And then we tried to use another wish so we could know every possible way to find Paylor or find the Spear of Light. And I suggested some alterations such as every humanly possible way, but they decided to ignore me and not do it. Whatever. So we get it, and unfortunately I managed to get a 20 for like the first time in a month. I managed to get a roll of 20, so I didn't go crazy, and Steve said he got a 20, so he didn't go crazy, but pretty much everyone else in the party suddenly had -2 everything forever, basically schizophrenia, because they suddenly got all this knowledge shoved into their head. So we did another wish to make the people that had gone crazy not have gained that knowledge, so that they wouldn't be crazy, but the rest of us keep it. And that's basically, oh no, and so then we found a secret door in the room with the succubi and got to Paylor's area, where we were trying to ask him for the spear, and I started talking and he cut me off and was like, I will kill you all if that demon whore, or demonic whore ever talks again. Talking about me. And I'm like, demonic whore, what? Apparently it's because he thinks that Lauren's going to become a demon at some point, but and so Joe is the only one that Paylor will even talk to, but at that point Joe had left because it was like 11 and he was at work in the morning. So yesterday was the continuation of that. Joe was back with us, and Chris, because Chris was lost last week. And Joe talks to Paylor about the spear, and Paylor's like, okay, I'm gonna put you through a test. So we end up in this, we don't know, we think it's real, we don't know what it is, but we're in the city where demons are attacking, and there's all these orphans, and there's a church with the trap door, and we gather the orphans and we go in the trap door, and suddenly there's traps everywhere, and the orphans, and blah 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 blah. We all end up separated in kind of planes of existence right next to each other, so we're like in the same room but can't see each other, and a bunch of crazy stuff happens, and I get knocked out, and then when I wake up, Bells is at a trap where it's the Spider-Man not video game, it's the superhero scenario of she has to pick one person to save, me or Josh, and she decides to save me because she thinks Josh is a god, so if he falls in some spikes, you know, he'll probably be okay, or he'll at least survive. But nope, she saves me, Josh falls, instantly dies. So Bells goes into a crazy person rage and she starts running everywhere, and my character's like shit and like follows her, and Bells starts setting off every trap there is because she's just running helter-skelter, and my character, she gets caught by some of the traps, my character gets caught by some of the traps. None of them died, luckily. We managed to not die on the really difficult ones, but all of Joe's orphans die because he didn't really pay attention. He just like charged ahead, and all the orphans fell down this pit and died, and it was really bad. It was really bad, but we finally found a room. We managed to get back together, sans orphans, and we find a room with the Spear of Light in the middle of it, and we like engineer a way to get the Spear of Light. However, the moment we get the Spear of Light, turns out we're back by the demon, and that was a scenario that really happened but didn't really happen, blah blah blah, so that we know how to get the Spear of Light, but it keeps looping for a long time because these are all the various different methods of, you know, it's Groundhog Day, the movie. So and then at that point I kind of was like, okay, I don't even know. I wanted to try some method that wasn't making a wish to get the spear, but Steve was like, no, we're making a wish. And I was like, okay. So I went over to talk to this other girl that Kate brought, Emma, to be in our party, which totally took us by surprise. But hey, the more girls the better. We need some more estrogen. Although, as Steve said, we already have Joe. But anyway, we're kidding, Joe. We love you. Anyway, and then when they called me back over, they figured out some way to break the chain so that we had the Paylor spear. in an amulet. And then we go back to the city. And we didn't know that it wasn't real. So we took a really long time going through the other things. So it was already like 10 o'clock at night. But so we go back to the city, and we send Neil, Steve's character, like I said, Indiana Jones, with Han Solo's ego, or rather Steve's ego. And Emma, the new character, she joins us, and she's actually a similar character. She's a straight up sorceress, but we send them off to go to the royal libraries and research. And by the way, the reason my character originally tried to find a prince, tried to find nobility, was that the Chenonceau had a really nice library, but only like nobility could get in to use the library, and she wanted to find an inn to get in there, and just ended up getting an inn with the prince. Hey, happy coincidence. Not really a coincidence. William decided on it, but whatever. Within the game, it's a happy coincidence. And so while they were off doing that, oh, by the way, so before they left, my character was like, okay, well, they're probably not going to let you into the library unless you have some kind of royal mandate. So we have the prince there with us as Silver Jack, but he's still really the prince. But he doesn't have a royal signet on him or anything like that. So the prince writes a thing saying like, this is our researcher, this is our scribe Neil, and we want him to do research and blah blah blah. And then Neil forges the signet, which is kind of hilarious because it was really written by the prince, but the signet was forged. And by the way, if you don't know what a signet is, it's basically when they have wax and they seal an envelope, and then they put like a button, but it's like a special button that's like the coat of arms or whatever. That's what a signet ring is. And it was considered basically a legally binding signature because the wax would break when you would open the thing. So anyway, and so he goes over to the library and he's talking to Edward about going into the library. And I was saying, out of character, I was like, say that, matters. Okay, so we got there and Edward said that, oh, well, we already sent all our demon-related material to the kingdom as per the king requested 2 years ago, meaning the demon-possessed king apparently requested the information. And I said, tell him that, matters have changed and we have to do our own research and we don't have time, that's why we sent you. But Steve ignores me and says, oh yeah, so we got your records and they totally got destroyed accidentally, whoops, sorry. Which I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? That's retarded. That's okay, they're never gonna lend us anything ever again because we apparently take really shitty care of the stuff they give us. But so William shrugs that off. Everybody shrugs that off except for me. I'm like, okay, whatever. So he goes over to do research, and while he's doing research for 2 days, Lauren wants to break back into Edward's palace and drop off the dagger that he stole earlier, which, by the way, turned out to be a ghost touch dagger. So totally useless in the fight against the spiders. Because it's only good for killing ghosts. But so he's going to put that back, and he does that. And when he gets back, my character is getting restless again because she's trapped. She doesn't want to leave Lauren. Lauren can't leave because he's a wanted criminal, so he can't really leave the place he's hiding out. But my character's like, I'm going to go out for a walk. And so she decides to do what she did in Chenonceau that first time and gets gussied up and looks for a royal or a noble to find information from. And she ends up in this place where there's this really boisterous, red-haired, red-bearded guy named Wallace, who nobody knows what he does, but everybody knows who he is. And he's really friendly and whatever. And my character is kind of pissed off at Lauren because she was having this well, I'm better at sneaking than you, I know more about the world, blah blah blah, and Lauren was being a pompous dick and no, I know more, blah blah blah. So my character was kind of irritated. So she hi butterfly. Anyway, I don't know if I put that in frame at all. Okay, sorry. Butterfly. And we're almost at a half hour again, but alright, I'm almost done. What was I talking about? Right, Wallace. So she's talking to Wallace and she's like, oh yeah, I heard about Silver Jack, blah blah blah. And Wallace is like, oh yeah, I know a lot about him. And my character's like, well, maybe he's a noble that's bored and just doing this, to get away from the shackles of nobility. And up to this point, I had just been kind of role-playing privately with William. Not privately, but I was role-playing with him while everybody else in the room was having their own conversation. But I say that, and from across the room, Kate's like, oh my god, no you didn't. And I'm like, it's not like I said anything that nobody else had never thought of. I mean, that's like straight out of a, you know, romance adventure novel. It's not like I said something that anyone with half a brain would have thought already. But so she's like, I can't believe you just did that. And I'm like, and it kind of snowballs from there because Wallace is like, yeah, that's probably totally true. And you know what? I think I know where he is. Let's go say hi to him. And my character's like, shit. And so she's like reluctantly following him. And then when she realizes that they're headed straight to where Lauren is because she was there with him, she's like, I need to go get something. I'll be right back. Can you meet me here? And Wallace is like, sure. And so she goes around, sneaks around, fails all my rolls because this is me we're talking about, but there's no one there to see. So sneaks into her room, and she sneaks back into her room, sees that Lauren is there and that Wallace just walked in, so she sneaks back out and she writes a letter saying that her nerves failed her, and she puts it where she was supposed to meet Wallace. And then Wallace is like trying to bring like the prince and everybody else there out to meet her because he's like, I just met the funniest lass. And Lauren's like, really? And so my character left the note and disappeared, and hence the Facebook status, trying to steal something so I have an alibi so my boyfriend the prince doesn't kill me, only in D&D, because my character then goes out and just like robs a store so she has an alibi so that hopefully, I mean, obviously, because I always fail my rolls, Lauren's gonna immediately know, but that she didn't blow his cover, and so that happened. And then when Wallace et al. Get there and Rory's not there, so Wallace looks to my sister who was where Lauren was and goes, hey, I have an idea, let's go hustle some people out of money with arm wrestling. So they start going to other bars where there's guys that look all surly and sour and stuff like that, and Wallace comes in and, hey, Wallace, yay, Wallace. So my sister starts hustling them out with arm wrestling, and she failed her rolls too because unfortunately she, like me, has the rolling curse, although she fails slightly less than I do. Not that that's saying much, but so she loses to a couple of them, but barely loses to them. So the guys that are fighting her are like, holy crap, because she's this little girl, but she's strong as they are, so they're all freaked out. But it was funny, so all these legends start of like, oh yeah, she slays dragons and blah blah blah, so that was pretty funny. And then in the morning my character sneaks back in and she goes around and finds Neil and has him help her disguise herself as what she looked pre-adventure, because for the whole Silverjack thing she decided to dye her hair red, not like auburn red, wine red, and disguise herself as well, since Jack is or Lawrence disguising himself as Silverjack. So she has Neil help her make herself not costumed anymore, basically look like she originally did with short blonde hair and kind of masculine features and blah blah blah. And she goes down there, and every time we've been around Wallace, we've had to do a will save, and we can't figure out why. And then Steve passes his will save, because he never fails any roll ever, apparently. And he's like, I'm going to keep harping on this, because you're a liar, McLiar, Steve. You're such a liar. You are such a liar, and you can yell you're not a liar until you're blue in the face, but we will always know that you're a liar. And it's fine, it's fine. It's fun, it's fun. He realizes that Wallace is wearing a ring of charisma, and he decides he wants to steal it. And my character wants to steal it too. 1, because she needs charisma. 2, because she's a thief. And 3, because she kind of doesn't like Wallace by proxy, because she is now kind of going to get in trouble with Lauren, because he was like, yeah, let's go find Lauren. She's like, and so Neil makes her invisible and uses his like light show powers to distract everybody, and my character had enough assists that even though I roll shitty all the time, she managed to take the ring from Wallace while he was like clapping. Except that here, William, I'm gonna just say it, William metagamed, because he decided it's fine, it's hilarious, I don't really care, but he decided that while my character stole the ring, suddenly the rapier that she just had made, the +1 rapier, which was like 1,500 gold or whatever, suddenly shows up next to Wallace's chair. So obviously that means that while my character was stealing his enchanted ring, he stole her rapier somehow. And she didn't want to really take she had second thoughts about taking the ring, because while Neil was like, while Steve was like, don't worry, I can make you look totally innocent so he won't think you stole it, she's like, well, yeah, but he's still gonna think that somebody stole it, and you know, I don't want, he's friends with Lauren, so I don't want him to just like suddenly hate our party or whatever. So she takes the ring, but she like tucks it into a crack under a table, like 2 tables away, so that if he does notice, you know, she can be like, oh, hey, is this it right over here? Anyway, so basically that's where we cut off, because it was like 1 in the morning, and Joe and Chris both had work early in the morning, so we stopped there. But so next week, we'll see how badly Rory fails her bluff check about where she was last night, and see what happens with Wallace's ring. I'm sure he'll just end up back on his person, because Rory's a thief, but at the same time, she's not, you know, she's lawful neutral, and she's not, people yell at me like, oh my god, you're not playing your lawful neutral. I'm trying to make it so that she has her own code of ethics, like she doesn't steal from the poor, or she doesn't kill innocents, but she does steal from people that she thinks can afford to use it, like Robin Hood, you know, lawful neutral, but whatever. So we'll see what happens with that. Alright, so I'm gonna go figure out how to put these videos up, and like I said, if the people involved watch this video and get offended or something, I'm sorry, that was not my intent. I'm just trying to write down the events as much as I can remember them, and I really, really, really am enjoying this campaign, even though I keep having heart attacks because I'm totally convinced that my character or my sister's character or my lover's character is gonna get killed or whatever. But it's really exciting and it's really fun. So good job, William, and good job to everybody else to play their character, because it's fun. Everybody has all their different characters. And welcome to Emma. Welcome to the insanity. That's it. And also, I decided that I'm gonna yell over this jet. Also, so Emma apparently draws and stuff like that. Actually, she draws really similar to how my old friend Severe draws, true. So that's kind of eerie, but and I decided that was a sign that I should finally draw our characters from the group. So I'm gonna email everybody and be like, can you give me a really thorough description of your character? And I'm already kind of busy trying to draw covers for my dad's children's novels, which he's putting all over Kindle and stuff like that, but you know, I don't draw as much as I should. So anyway, I'm hot and thirsty and hungry, so I'm gonna go walk home and put this video up. So thanks for watching. Bye.